Hey, welcome back to the Big Red Zone. We're very excited for today's show. Remember, new episodes come out every Thursday. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the like button on this video as well as all our other videos. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Big Red Zone. And as always, tell a friend. This week, we'll break down this week's games from the NFL. We're going to preview the Pats-Bears game tonight. Mac, Bailey Zappi, who do we think is going to start? Maybe they both will play. I don't know. We'll talk about that tonight. Also, we'll break down the MLB postseason. Both championship series have ended, and we have the Phillies versus the Astros. So we'll talk about that, preview the World Series. And it's Halloween time, so we'll do our all-time draft of Halloween movies. All that and more on this week's episode of the Big Red Zone. Welcome to the podcast. This is the Big Red Zone. I'm your host, Big Red. As always, I am joined by Danny Football.
Happy Halloween, Big Red. How we doing?
Happy Halloween. I should have, maybe next week, because I think if we usually record on Monday, so we may, I don't know if we're going to record on Monday, but I'll wear a nice costume for
there we go.
Halloween.
Okay.
Maybe I'll put one
right.
on. But we're in the spooky season. It's definitely the spooky season. Any special plans for this Halloween weekend coming up?
Nothing so far. At work, we're going to be doing some costume classes, so that'll be fun. As for the day itself, probably just sitting here, handing out candy, see if anyone comes by. If not, I'll eat it myself. No worries. We got some good costumes lined up just in case, so we're good to go.
What's the costume of the year? Can we get any hints on what the costume is?
I'll leak it. I'll leak it for you. I'll give it to you straight. So we got a Jason mask. I got actually right over here. We got a good Jason mask going. So I'm gonna pair that with a UMass Lowell hockey jersey.
I will love it.
We got Scarecrow. Use this for 2020, so it didn't get much use. So we're gonna run that out. And then we got a little gas mask here. So I'm not sure where we're gonna go with that. Maybe do like a little Bane thing, but we got options.
All right. We got plenty of options. We'll have to see which one you break out next week.
I'll be ready.
Good times. Halloween's always a fun time. Nothing too crazy this year, but try to get into the festive season.
I meant to ask the missus if she was doing another party, but I forgot.
I don't think she is.
That's okay. Retiring on top.
She had a good one last year.
That was good.
It was a fun one. It was definitely a good one. I went up dressed as The Rock from
perfect costume
from the meme. It was a great costume I could wear again too. People won't even
can always break that out. Can't go wrong.
I can break out the turtleneck anytime I want to. Got a nice watch out of it that was probably $5. You know what I mean? Like, it was a good deals all around.
Can't beat it.
2 years ago, though, I was dressed up as a shark. I was in a shark onesie.
Yeah, you were the left shark. That's right.
I may have to break that out this year. I may break that out. Handing out candy. It's hard though. The kids come to the door. They all know Mr. Right. You know what I mean?
Is that what it is? Oh my God.
Can't do too much crazy, but I don't know. At this point in my life, I have no shame. I'll wear it.
I have no shame.
I'll go to the store in a shark costume. You know what I got in there? I got a nice slice of pizza I may put on next week. That's always a good costume. It's like a nice slice of pizza. It's a simple, easy, gets my point across, It's great.
I like it.
But we'll get in the festive Halloween season at the end of the episode with a nice all-time draft. But first, let's get into our first segment of the night, Weekend Recap.
It's the Weekend Recap.
So for Weekend Recap, we normally break down 3 games from the past week, but this week we're going to actually do one preview because obviously the Pats, we usually always do the Pats game and they play tonight in a couple hours. So we'll break down that game, but 2 games that we're going to break down from that's already happened, one of which is the Bucks versus the Panthers. Before we get going, we got to obviously talk about this. Christian McCaffrey, longtime Panthers running back, fantasy football star or disappointment, depending on what season you had him. was traded to the San Francisco 49ers this week on Thursday. He ended up actually playing in the 49ers game and actually did, for a guy that was there for 3 days, did pretty well in that 49ers game. Didn't do much, but I mean, when you go to another system, usually you're out for a week anyway to learn the playbooks and stuff. He was, I mean, it shows how good he was. He just played, and I think he was still, I don't know what his exact stats were, but I know for fantasy football wise, I still think he gave up put up double digits. That's going to be a fun weapon for the 49ers to use going forward. But, you know, general reactions to Christian McCaffrey trade. This sent shockwaves across the NFL.
Yeah, I was seeing the alerts coming across that they were shopping them. Obviously, you know, everyone and their mom is breaking out the, Bill Belichick Lions entrance with they dub over the Stone Cold Steve Austin entrance music, and it's like, oh, Christian McCaffrey on the trade block, Bill Belichick, here it comes.
Yeah.
So I saw those alerts come in, and obviously you're thinking, all right, they're shopping them, but does that mean they're actually gonna, are they actually gonna move them? Will the team actually pony up to get them? And I mean, San Francisco comes in with a second round, third round, fourth round picks in 2023 and a fifth round pick in 2024. That's a hell of a haul for the Panthers, considering that they're in full rebuild mode now. You know, they shipped Robbie Anderson out to Arizona. Now they move Christian McCaffrey. DJ Moore is just kind of sitting there by himself, handcuffed to the Baker Mayfield. So big trade, completely changes the outlook of the NFC. You know, you take it Christian McCaffrey off of a dumpster team in Carolina, which is unfortunate because when we were previewing the season, we were looking at Carolina as a kind of a dark horse team, and that's just not the case. Move them over to the 49ers, who have had a good enough season for themselves. It just makes them even better. So the landscape has changed. The NFC got a little bit better.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm kind of happy for Christian McCaffrey because he gets to go to a team that's actually, 49ers are a really solid team, and I think he helps make that team still makes that team, even better. And as in the NFC, as we talked about, is wide open. I think that the 49ers may move to the front of possible Super Bowl not content. I wouldn't say Super Bowl favorites, but wouldn't surprise me to see the 49ers in the Super Bowl now, especially after getting a guy like Christian McCaffrey. I think he fits in really well with Jimmy G. Jimmy G is just going to be checking it down to him all day long and handing it off to Christian McCaffrey. I think his usage is going to go up a lot. Kind of nervous to see if you're a Debo Samuels guy, his usage could go down a little bit just because that kind of takes away from a lot of the stuff that Debo normally does. But I think it's great. The Panthers tried. They got Baker. Thought that would do. He hasn't worked out there. You got Sam Darnold last year. It hasn't worked out. So they're starting to trade away all their pieces to get picks, and they're going to try to do a full rebuild. They trade away Robbie Anderson last week. They trade away Christian McCaffrey this week. I wouldn't be surprised if they start dipping into those quarterbacks like Sam Darnold and Baker just to see what they can get. But that's what the funniest part about this whole thing is. Panthers rebuilding. They're a game out of first place.
So I was about to say, I say that the Panthers are going nowhere, and yet they completely stomped the Bucs here, and they're in the run. They're in the run for the division.
Yeah, I mean, I say that we say that they're in a rebuild, but they may rebuild by winning the division. I don't know. It's like they.
No,
they
we
could
did.
Easily.
We did see the NFC East have a division-winning playoff team with barely a winning record last year. So,
right.
Take that as you will.
Right, but. I don't. Little closing thing on the trade. I think it's great for both teams. I think both teams get what they want.
100%.
Panthers get a handful of picks, and 49ers just increase their odds tremendously of going to the Super Bowl. So good for them. Let's get into the game that we were going to talk about. Panthers Bucks. Panthers shocked the world. So we just said they trade away their best player on their roster. And they come, everyone's kind of thinking the season's over. They come out and beat the Bucks. Not only beat the Bucks, hold Tom Brady in that offense to 0 touchdowns. They shut him out in the first half, and they hold him to 0 touchdowns in the entire game. I know a lot of people are going to talk about the Mike Evans drop on the first drive of the game. I mean, that was brutal. Mike Evans catches that ball 9 times out of 10.
I won my fantasy, but I could have used the extra points.
Could have used those couple points. I just, you know what's funny? I just traded for Mike Evans in my dynasty league literally 2 days before the game. I traded for him on Friday night, and I immediately was like, "What's going on here?" I was starting to get nervous on that decision. So, but we talked about it in length last week with Joseph_Celia on the pod, and if you haven't checked out that episode and our conversation with Joe, definitely check it out now. But I was saying last week, don't worry, Bucks will find water. They'll figure it out. They got the Panthers this week. Don't worry about it. Everything's going to be okay. I'm starting to think you got to panic if you're a Bucks fan and you're in the Bucks locker room, because this is not a good. You got 2 cream puff games, and now you got to go play a tough game next week. And I don't know. They benefit from being in a tough division. When I say tough, a bad division. But if I'm a Tampa Bay Bucks fan, I'm starting to get a little nervous on this.
No,
season.
it's not looking good. And this is a Bucks team that I think, if you asked anyone before the season started, it's NFC Championship game is the floor at the least. Tom Brady comes out of retirement. It's all kumbaya. They fire Bruce Arians, bring in Todd Bowles. Weapons upon weapons upon weapons upon weapons. And then here we are. Tom Brady's struggling. The offense is struggling. The defense is giving up, 21 points to the Panthers. This team is shot, man. Like, this team is 100% shot. It's getting worse every week. I don't see how they can turn this around. I know I say it every week. They get off the slow starts, they turn it around. They get off the slow starts, they turn it around. I don't see how they turn this around. I think this is going to be a free fall.
Is this the cliff that Max was talking about years ago?
It was about what, 10 years too late? 10 years too early, but this could very well be it. It took Tom Brady literally quitting and then coming back to finally fall off the cliff. Not to say that Tom Brady's playing bad football. It's just that this team is not working.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, like I said, you lost to the Steelers and the Panthers. Those are 2 games on your schedule that, when you're counting your wins there, those are the ones that you got to have. And now, instead of being, right now, what are they? They're 3-4. Instead of being 5-3, you know what I mean? And they can, kind of go into this game against the Ravens being like, all right, we're 5-3. If we drop this game, it's okay. But now it's kind of Thursday night football, short week. It's a kind of a must win for them to kind of gain some traction on this season. And it doesn't get much easier. The only saving grace they have, and this is why I say, I think they're in panic mode, but they're not in total panic mode yet. The division they play in is bad. Like, as bad as they play it, the division they're in, they could be one of those teams that we're talking about at the end of the year where they're under 500 but make the playoffs because the division is just bad. So they got to kind of figure some stuff out, but they can't be getting 21-3 against the Carolina Panthers. That's bad. And I think you're correct. Tom didn't really look that bad. I didn't think Tom was that bad. Looked terrible in this game. Everyone's kind of bashing Tom. He threw 290 yards. Like, that's not a bad. He's got to finish some touchdowns, but I mean, if Mike Evans catches that ball, that's a touchdown and over 300 yards. You know what I mean? If Chris Godwin had some drops, Mike Evans had a couple of drops, it's like they got to figure it out. And defense has got to. I mean, 21 points is pretty good, but defense has got to figure out too on their end too, because the second half was just a complete collapse.
Yeah, we're saying it all the time. This division's pretty, for the most part, wide open. So they have an opportunity, but I don't see how they click to make any form of run. Like, if they could scratch and claw their way to winning the division, but they're not going anywhere in the playoffs, I think, at least.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say is, if you're looking at it, they got to just we always say, find a way to get where they're at right now. They just got to find a way to get there. Find a way to get to the playoffs, and then anything can happen. You're right. I'm not that scared of Bucks as I was if I was another team, going into the season. But, it's Tom Brady in the playoffs. He's made magic happen with less. He still has Mike Evans. He still has Chris Godwin. Who knows? Maybe they pull Gronk out of retirement for a second time. You know what I mean? It's like, I think this team is just needs to get on a roll, and they're going to start. If they get a rhythm, I think they could end up figuring it out, because the NFC, we said 100 times, is just so wide open. There's no clear-cut favorite to win the NFC, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, you had the Eagles right now that are 6-0, but would it surprise you that much if the Eagles didn't didn't make it to the Super Bowl?
No.
No, the Vikings are in first place right now in their division. They're winning their division. You know what I mean? The Seattle Seahawks are in first place in their divisions with teams like the Rams, 49ers, and Cardinals. I think we would have all picked each of those other three teams to be in first place other than the Seahawks. You know what I mean? I think Seahawks would be the last team in that division. And then the NFC East, that's been like a dumpster fire, is actually turning into the strongest division in the NFC. They have the Eagles, Giants, and Cowboys, who all have good records, 5-2 or better. So if the Bucks can just find a way to get there and kind of get a rhythm towards down the stretch of the season, I think they'll be okay. Super Bowl favorites, but I think they'll be okay.
Fair.
Let's move on to the Steelers-Dolphins game. This game, Sunday Night Football, interesting game because Tua comes back. I didn't think I'd see Tua again this year. I know we talked about it in length on the podcast, how it was disgusting that they threw him out there that next week. And then, it was, I don't know, it was close. It was a close, I don't get why he was playing, but comes out, says he's going to throw the ball away more, takes a hit, the second drive of the game, bends his head and takes a hit. But, Steelers, I think, also, taking the Dolphins away from it, because we know the Dolphins are a decent football team. But the Steelers, I'm impressed with them because they're in a rebuild. They're in all these games. And I think, Kenny Pickett's young. He throws 4 interceptions. Right? 4? Is it 4 interceptions?
In the game?
Yeah.
I thought the 2 at the end were his only ones. Let me check.
Was it 2?
I thought it was just the 2 late ones. I can check though.
I may be thinking of.
Box score. Kenny Pickett. He threw 3.
3 interceptions. It's just a young kid making young mistakes. That's just all it is. I think they're going to be really good for years to come. Kenny Pickett seems legit. You just got to work on his decision making. But the Steelers defense is good. All they had to do was score. They needed a touchdown in that second half, but they held the Dolphins to no touchdowns in the second half too. It was defensive battle. If Kenny Pickett can just finish on a couple of those drives, and like you said in the notes, toe tap to clinch it. If he can, figure it out on his decision making, I think this team is going to be really good.
I think this was kind of a battle of 2 teams just trying to find their way. One way in the Steelers, you start with Mitch Trubisky, then you make the move to the rookie. He's still finding his feet. He has flashes of greatness, and then he has flashes of poor decision making, throwing too many interceptions. Then on the other side, you have the Dolphins, who week 1 looked like a juggernaut against us, and now you damn near killed Tua, and now he's trying to find his feet again. You're able to pull this game out, but you're still sitting there at 4-3. The division is looking pretty tough now. This is no longer a 2-horse race. This is Bills. Jets look good. As much as I hate to admit it, the Jets look half decent. Patriots we're making our run now. This division is starting to look like a Shark Tank. So if I'm the Dolphins, yeah, you just pulled out a good win. I say good win, but you pull out a win against the Steelers here. I don't know how much this really proves, or, I'm not ready to say the Dolphins are ready to take a step forward here. I think it's just 2 teams who, one starting a rookie quarterback and one starting a guy who almost damn near died. So this is just two teams trying to find their footing, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, this game was like you said, it was kind of, two teams trying to find its way. Steelers are kind of, rebuilding, but they've shown a lot of promise. The rookie quarterback's going to make rookie mistakes, and then the Dolphins are trying to find their footing. Coming back with Tua, which I'm surprised he even played, and they're in a division where, like you said, it's a 4-horse race now, which I'm shocked to say. It's no longer, is it going to be the Bills or the Pats? Is it going to be the Pats, or this other team? All four teams are having decent year. The Pats are in last, but they're starting to go on that run that we talked about at the beginning of the year. But the Jets are out of nowhere. They're a good team. It pains me to even say that. Bills are the Bills, and Dolphins are trying to get back to that. So definitely a good Sunday night game, and both these teams I think are going to be good for years to come, especially the Steelers. I think Kenny Pickett's legit, and I think they're going to be pretty good in the years to come. Now, looking ahead at this Pats Bears game tonight, huge game for the Pats. We just said the division is kind of a battle. It's just a 4-team battle. So you need to pick up this one. You can't drop one against the Bears. Bears are obviously the worst team between the two. Mac is supposedly playing tonight. Bill hasn't really said much. Now, it could be he's just active tonight and Bailey Zappi gets the start. And they kind of just use Mac if they need him, or Bailey Zappi has a bad start, so they go to Mac. Because Mac's not 100%. There's no way he's healed 100%. I don't really know what to make of that whole Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi for tonight scenario they got, but definitely Pat should win this game, and they're right in this division for sure if they can win this game tonight.
Yeah, I think when we were going down the schedule, this was a game you should win. And, especially now we're technically 7 weeks in, but this is the end of week 7, but we're 7 weeks in. This is a game you should definitely win. The Bears are not good. The Pats are on the come up. Whether it's Bailey Zappi or Mac Jones, you win this game. You continue the winning streak, continue the good momentum. Like I said, this division isn't getting run away with. It's a good division, but you need to keep pace. You can't fall behind. So, win the game. We say it all the time, win the games you're supposed to win, and then you need to beat the good teams. If I'm the Pats, I'm feeling pretty good about my chances of being able to stay in this division race. And it all starts tonight, whether it's, like I said, if it's Bailey Zappi or Mac Jones, you beat the Bears. And then you come out of this week thinking, all right, we got that win under our belts, big Monday night game at home. We move forward. Again, we broke down the schedule last week. It's the Jets, interdivision game. Colts, who are completely falling apart. They just benched Matt Ryan. Jets again, so you have 2 huge division games right there. Vikings, who lead their division, and then you have the Bills, who lead our division. So you have 3 big division games coming up. You have 2 kind of gimme games with the Bears and the Colts, and then you have that Vikings game. And beat the teams you're supposed to beat the teams that are good, and that's how you make the playoffs.
Yeah, and then it starts with tonight. I mean, this is the run. I mean, we talked about it, like you just said, this little stretch where they played the Lions, like include the Packers in that. But after that game, we were talking about the Lions, Browns, Bears, Jets, Colts, Jets. You had to be, at least you could probably only afford in this little run of games 1 loss. And really in that stretch of games, I said you kind of got to go undefeated in the stretch just so you have a chance in the playoffs, just because of how dominant your division's going. That way, when you go to the Vikings game and you play the Vikings, Bills, Cardinals, there's some wiggle room there. You know what I mean? That's a tough stretch of games as well. So, I'm hopeful. It starts with tonight. I think they'll win tonight. It's a good momentum game. Keep the momentum on our side. They've defense had 2 dominant weeks. The last 2 weeks, they've given up 15 points in 8 quarters of football. So hopefully they keep that going. Justin Fields is known to throw picks, so I hope that the defense keeps that going. And use this momentum to go into a nice long it's a kind of a shorter week, but a nice week. Sunday 1:00 game against the Jets. And hopefully next week when we're talking at this time, the Patriots are now, what will it be? They'll be 5-3. I think we'll feel a lot better about this team that they're 5-3 next time we talk.
I like this. I like it. It's not a big game in that it's two good teams. It's just a big game in that you need this win. You need to keep the momentum going. And this stretch coming up is going to be huge. So we need all the wins we can get.
Yeah. And I mean, if we've learned anything from this week, the Bucs lost to the Panthers. The Packers lost to the, I want to say football team, but the Commanders. 2 XFL quarterbacks beat Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady this week. Go, what's it called? Oh my goodness. I'm clear to engage. What was my team? The Battlehawks.
Oh my God.
Go Battlehawks. But I mean, these teams that are kind of the seller, it proves they can win any given day. So they need to take care of business tonight and hopefully blow them out. I'd like to see them just blow them out this week. All right, let's move on to our next segment, picks of the week.
Picks of the week.
For picks of the week, we pick one game from the upcoming schedule. Danny Football is still waiting on his week 7 pick of the week with the Pats over the Bears. Hopefully he is correct. And with that said, we would both be 6-1. We are on an absolute tear, Danny Football. And I might add the guest record not looking too bad for themselves. This week, I'm going to go ride the Pats train. I'm going Pats over Jets. Going into the season, we thought this game would be kind of a joke. Like I thought it would be a no-brainer. Patriots are obviously going to beat the Jets. Not so fast. The Jets are in second place in the division. They are 5-2. In what world are the New York Jets 5-2? I don't know. I think it's eventually the wheels are going to fall off. I keep predicting each week the wheels are going to fall off, but they keep finding ways to win. 5-2, Danny Football, 4-game winning streak, 4-0 on the road, absolute road warriors. So I think the Pats end that. I think they'll use the momentum from tonight, barring they win. They should win. But they're going to hopefully use that momentum from a nice win tonight and bring it into next week and beat the Jets. That will be a good division win for us, and it will definitely crank us up the old standings ladder if we can win this week and win against the Jets.
I like that. Like that pick. We're on a heater right now, like you said. 6-1, hopefully soon to be 6-1. Again, bet the money line if you're us. If you're following this podcast, bet the money line. So I got Pats over Bears cooking right now. We're gonna see how that plays out. Upcoming week, I'm gonna go Bills over Packers. I'm just gonna keep shoveling dirt on the Packers, like I told you before we started. Packers, I put them in the same category as the Bucs, looking pretty shot right now. I don't see how Josh Allen doesn't just take care of business here, so I'm gonna go Bills.
Coming off a bye too. Did you see Aaron Rodgers' comments? They asked him, like, he was talking about next week, and he's like, I think we're in the best situation we can be in. We're going to play in the Bills next week. No one expects anything of us. They want to expose us. It's like, no, I think you can be in a better situation.
So it's just self-deprecation at this point. My God.
I think winning against the Washington and then, not playing the best team in the NFL would be a good, better place. But, to each his own, Aaron Rodgers. That guy is out of his mind. Couldn't be in a worse. I'd hate to see a worse situation. What does he think is a worse situation? Let's move on to waiver pickups of the week. I'm going with Gus Edwards, running back, obviously of the Baltimore Ravens. Coming off a big injury last year, I know a lot of people picked up Gus Edwards last year, and then the injury killed him. Only rostered 0.2% of leagues on ESPN. Had 2 touchdowns in his first game in, I think, over 2 years, or at least a year. 2 touchdowns on 6 carries, 66 yards. I have no idea who's going to be leading that Baltimore running back room. J.K. Dobbins has not performed to what we thought he was going to be. maybe Gus Edwards the guy. 2 touchdowns and a return. It's definitely worth picking up, taking a waiver on him, especially if you're like me in the Rocks League, ready to start picking up all the keepers you can grab. Gus Edwards is definitely someone that you should keep your eye on.
I'm going Juwan Johnson, tight end for New Orleans, owned at 3.2% of league. So, bottom. He's definitely out there. Put up a 20.2 in this past week. I think I've gone tight end almost every single week, but it's just such a thin
Ride the
position.
train.
It's such a thin position. If you need some sort of depth, pick him up. I'm probably gonna end up trying to pick him up because Njoku got hurt. So I'm gonna go Juwan Johnson.
You know, I thought of you this week in one of my other leagues. I was I think I was either 1-5. I just had a bad. I think I was 1-5. What's this week? Is this week 7 that we just went into?
This will be week 7, yeah.
That we just played. I think
So next week will be week 8. So we're all gonna
right?
be 7 games have been played after tonight. 7
So I was
weeks have been completed.
Really? I don't
Yeah.
know. I had 1 win on the
I'm
season.
about to be 4-3 in the Rocks League. So
Okay, so I was 1-5. 1-5. Yeah, that makes sense. I was 1-5 in this league. Totally blew up my entire team. Traded away Diggs, traded away Herbert, put a bunch of package trades together, and my team, after when all the dust is settled from this blowing up process, I have now created a team that I think I'm going to go deep in the play. I think I may win this whole league. After just going, putting caution in the wind, Danny Football, and just trading away everyone.
got to shake off the locker room every now and then.
The only person from my original starting lineup that I had going this week was, I mean, I guess you can count Hopkins. I drafted Hopkins, but this was his first week back, and Mike Williams. In trades, I got Mahomes, Taylor, Walker, and Higgins, and Kittle. Just blowing up my whole entire
There you
team.
go.
So if you're like me out there, people listening, fantasy football people, blow it up. If you're 1-something, I'm gonna blow it up in the Rocks League. I already talked trades with Danny Football. I'm ready to just blow it up, give away all my players to see if I can get some guys, make a little magic happen towards the end of the season. I don't think any magic's gonna happen in the Rocks League. Everyone else is so far ahead of me. So try to get some keepers and see what I can do. Matty P, if you're listening, trade me Justin Jefferson. I'll give you a bag for him. I'll literally give my entire Danny Football. I'm telling you, I'll give my entire team for Nick Chubb. I'll give you a big old package for Nick Chubb. Let's move on. MLB postseason. We haven't really spent much time on it, which I kind of by design. I don't really want to talk about MLB postseason. It's tough not to see my Red Sox just collapse and go out the way they did. But it warms my heart to see the way that another AL East team went out, and that is the New York Yankees. Yankees get swept, not even a game, swept by the Astros. Aaron Boone's doing everything from blaming the rooftop from being open to, doing anything to blame why they are, why they lost that game in Houston. Very happy that the Yankees lost, to say the least, but kind of pains me to see not an Astros guy, so stinks to see them. And my Padres pick did not work out. Lost, I think, 3-1 to the Phillies. Phillies going to the World Series against the Astros. It brings my point up that I think we've talked about on this podcast. They should have stuck with Dave. Should have gave him the shortest leash in baseball history. Cut that guy after a year. What was it, a year? Less than 2 years after winning the World Series?
Less than a year.
Less than a year from winning a World Series, they cut him. And now, then a couple years later from being fired, he's in the World Series again. Guy just finds ways to get there. They have a good shot as any to win the World Series this year. They got a great team in Philadelphia. I'm kind of rooting for the Phillies, but at the same time, I think every game they win. I mean, at this point, I hope they win because I don't want to see the Astros win. But I'm not feeling good about my Xander Bogaerts staying in Boston. I think he may go to the Philadelphia Phillies in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, there's no one happier than I am that the Yankees got swept. I mean, it's good enough that they lost, but the fact that they got swept is huge. 3 AL East teams going to the playoffs, and none of them made it to the World Series. So, as far as I'm concerned, that's a complete failure on all their parts. The Blue Jays, for all intents and purposes, were loaded. They didn't go anywhere. The Rays, again, didn't go anywhere. And then these Yankees, who it's winning 100 games. It's Judge doing the Roger Maris chase. It's first place, first place, and then they barely get by the Guardians, and then the Astros completely just handle them. And then you see the roof thing. You see Garrett Cole trying to get them fired up in the dugout, and he gets completely shelled in the series. And then the night leading into Game 4, they're sending around highlights of the 2004 ALCS, where the New York Yankees blew a 3-0 lead to the Boston Red Sox. So you're sending your own guys highlights of a previous iteration of your own team blowing a 3-0 lead. So is that supposed to inspire hope? Is that supposed to get a fire lit under their ass? Like, hey, we can come back from this. Here's a team that was infinitely better than we were, completely choking away a 3-0 lead. That team had A-Rod, Jeter, Mariano Rivera, Jorge Posada,
Matsui,
Gary Sheffield, Bernie Williams. The list goes on and on. That team was stacked to the gills. That's what you're showing your guys. Your guys who are worried about exit velocity and the roof being open and the wind and all this other outside noise. You send them highlights of the 2004 ALCS. I'm glad they lost. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad this is another failure of a Yankee season. The dry streak of World Series continues. It's going to reach 13 years now. Aaron Judge is going to be a free agent. I'm not going to say I don't want him on the Red Sox, because I do want him on the Red Sox. Pay that man, bring him here. And Giancarlo Stanton, by all means, keep robbing the Yankees blind. Garrett Cole, keep robbing the Yankees blind. If they lose Aaron Judge, man, that team is in a bad spot. That team's in a bad spot. So I couldn't be happier right now.
I think he's gone. I really do. I think Aaron Judge is done. They were booing him his final game in Yankee Stadium. I don't think there's a chance that Aaron Judge stays for the New York Yankees. He knows that they're not going to win. It's bad, just a bad place to be. He needs a fresh start. And you know what's a great fresh start? Boston, Massachusetts. Come down the pond, come across, have a nice time in Boston. He's already had pictures with Red Sox shirts on. We all know he loves the Red Sox.
Doesn't even need a Photoshop.
Come home. Just come home. Just enjoy it. And then you can break the home run record here. That's totally fine. I think Aaron Judge makes too much sense not to be a Red Sox. Heim's under a lot of scrutiny about not making big moves. I mean, look at who was one of the biggest bats in the Philly series against the Padres.
Bryce Harper.
Well, yes, Bryce Harper, big free agent name, but I'm thinking Kyle Schwarber.
Oh.
How many bombs did he hit, and we just let him walk? Why? So I think he's seeing a lot of scrutiny about not letting guys walk and not signing the big free agents like Bryce Harper. I wouldn't be surprised if Heim throws a ton of money, because we have no home run help. So I wouldn't be surprised if he throws a lot of money at Xander and Aaron Judge and say, hey, just lay it all out on the table. I'm spending all of our money. Let's go get our home run guys. Let's go get our leader of our team. Xander Bogaerts is the face of the Red Sox. Go pay Devers, and then you're going into the next 5 years with a core of Xander, Devers, and Aaron Judge. Sign me up. You're bound to make the playoffs and make a long, deep run in these next 5 years. They just got to figure out the pitching element, which I think if you sign those three guys, the rest of it's going to come. I just I think that they're in a delicate spot to start making a run here, and I think it starts by, you know, making a splash. Go sign re-sign Bogarts and go sign Judge.
I like it. I like it.
But I
Keep our
think he's
core
gone
together and add
regardless.
to it.
Yeah, keep the core together and add to it. And I think in general, Judge is gone. I don't see him playing for the Yankees.
No.
Whether it's in a Red Sox uniform or not, I think he's gone. And then the Phillies, I think the Phillies are just gonna. If they hold on to Dombrowski, the Phillies are gonna just keep getting better because Dombrowski's just gonna keep signing the best,
Well,
biggest names.
he's the money guy. He just throws
Yep.
money, and it was Harper, it was Schwarber. It must be nice.
Must be nice to spend all that money, but we're getting there, Danny Football. Soon enough. All right, let's move on to the next segment. We like doing these all-time drafts. Let me get the number generator up. So we like doing these drafts. We're doing an all-time series draft. We always do these all the time. This week for Halloween, get in the Halloween spooky season mode. We're gonna do the top 5 Halloween, our all-time Halloween movies draft. We got 5 picks. We're gonna go back and forth, snake draft order. We're gonna pick specific movies, specific Halloween movies. So that if I wanted, what was your?
I said
What was your?
so. If you pick Conjuring, I can take Conjuring 2,
Yeah,
like the number 2.
yeah. So I
Or
can.
if you pick
So,
like I don't know Friday the 13th 9, I can take Friday the 13th 6. So rather than like you pick the entire franchise, you're picking a specific movie in the franchise.
yeah, 100% agree. Okay, yeah, I'm down for it. Should be a fun one. So without further ado, Danny Football, since I'm doing the random number thing, I will let you pick the number. Well, do you want me to pick the number first, or do you want to pick the number
What's the
first?
range?
1 to 100.
Um,
Would you like me to pick the number first, or you pick the
no,
number first?
I'll go first. Aaron Judge, I'll go 99.
99. So it's the closest without going over, or just closest in general. What do you want to do?
Closest without going over, or closest in general.
Well, you probably want to do closest in general now because you
All
picked the
right,
second to last.
yeah. Yeah. So let's go closest in general.
In general, I could Prices Right you and go 98,
You could.
but I won't do that. I do like the Price is Right method, but I won't do that. I'll go. Famously, I on this podcast I picked 73 in this draft and I hit it on the nose, so I'm going to go 73. It was 58, so I'm closest.
Right in the
in
middle.
general.
All right.
Right in the middle. Well, not really right in the
Well,
middle.
in between 1 and 100.
Yeah, 100. They said one of them in the middle of us.
No.
78 does not. All right, so I will pick first, and with the first pick of this draft, I gotta go with the original Halloween.
That was gonna be mine.
I feel like it's a no-brainer,
All right, so I get back-to-back picks.
Back-to-back picks.
All right, I'm gonna go Friday the 13th 3.
Friday the 13th 3.
Because that's the first one where he has the hockey mask.
Okay.
Jason does not appear. Well, he appears at the very end of the first one. In the second one, he has a potato sack over his head. So I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna go the Friday the 13th 3, first one with the hockey mask, and then I'm gonna go Halloween 2018.
Is that the reboot of the series?
The reboot, the first reboot of this trilogy.
Okay. I got to be honest with you. I hate scary movies, so this is very this is a tough draft for me.
It doesn't have to be scary per se. I mean, if you want to go like Hocus Pocus here, you can.
Well, you know what I was gonna say. My next pick, I got back-to-back picks, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I gotta go with the class. It's an all-time classic. I gotta go with Hocus Pocus. Why not?
I wasn't gonna touch Hocus Pocus. Hocus Pocus was not on my draft board.
Well, you know what? I think it's a great one. Hocus Pocus 1 to be specific, because now they got 2. So I don't want to, don't want people getting the wrong idea. I got to go with Hocus Pocus 1. The OG one. It's just a classic film. I saw it last night. It's great. It was in the '90s. I still like it. I could watch. I've watched that movie 100 times. I can still watch it. This is where it gets a little difficult here because I'm starting to hate. I don't like any of these movies. So you know what I'll go with? Just an absolute classic of a movie. I gotta go with The Shining.
Oh, okay. All right.
I feel like it's a classic, scary movie.
That's a
I
good
can't
one.
watch 90% of it, but
It's a good, it's a good one. Am I back to back now?
yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go original Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
And then fourth, I'm gonna go. I feel like I have a good like three right there. I have a good front three with Friday the
Solid,
13th,
solid,
Halloween, and
solid three.
Nightmare. I just watched it, so I'm gonna take this one too. I'm gonna go Halloween 4. That is the return of Michael Myers. He does not appear in Halloween 3, if you were wondering.
I've never seen Halloween 3 or 4. So,
Only the first two?
well, no, I've seen Halloween 1, the original, and then Mrs. Big Red made me watch the 2018 Halloween.
So you haven't seen the original Halloween 2?
The original Halloween 2? No.
Oh,
I just
right.
saw the original Halloween.
Gotcha.
The one I picked, that's the one I saw.
Right. No, I gotcha. So 1978 is what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I told you I'm a baby. I don't like scary movies.
That's all right. This is my bread and butter
Um,
right now.
I know this is definitely your forte of picks. I'm tempted to go with the little vampire.
I'm not gonna stop you. We got back-to-back picks here. Hey, this is rounding out your team.
All right, let's think here. I wrote down a couple down here, but I think we're gonna be on totally different. Our lists are just gonna be totally different
Hey.
wavelengths here.
If you didn't take 1978, I was taking 1978.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
That was like that was the Jordan of the draft. Like you have to pick that one.
I feel like it was. I couldn't let that go. You know what I'm gonna go with? I'm gonna go with Ghostbusters.
That's a good one. That's a classic too. There you go.
Not too scary. Like it. I'd still get
Fits
a
the
little freaked
vibe.
out. Yeah, it fits my team. I'm not trying to be too
Well,
scary.
even just
I
the
mean,
Halloween vibe. That's a good one.
yeah, it's great. It's a good one. Now I'm between two right now. I don't think you're gonna pick any of these two, so I don't think you'll have to worry
You're
about
more than
me.
likely safe. My next one is gonna be a little off the beaten path.
You know what? I'm gonna go for it. A classic film. Not only, I think it's been drafted now in 2 drafts for 2 different reasons. The Nightmare Before Christmas. Do we count that as a Halloween movie? Or is that
Yes.
the
No, I
Christmas
count
movie?
it. I count it. I count it.
Okay.
Because it's they celebrate they're quote unquote celebrating Halloween in the movie. So
I know
it's a Halloween movie.
I'll let you draft your last.
All right. So I feel like I have a good mix here. I took like all classics because this is what I watch for Halloween movies.
I like it.
This last one though, I want to go modern. I'm gonna go modern, and this is a good one. If you ever, I mean, you're not a big horror movie guy, so you might not watch this, but I'm gonna go with As Above, So Below.
Whoa. Never even heard of that before.
So this is a movie about the French catacombs, and this movie starts off as like this it's kind of like a documentary type series movie. I could have went Blair Witch here, but I'm not gonna go Blair Witch. I actually just watched the new Blair Witch. but this is very like kind of Blair Witch-esque in that it's like found footage. But this movie de-escalates so quickly that it will blow your mind if you watch this movie. It is crazy.
I probably won't watch it, but
That's okay.
I'd
It's
like
it's
to.
definitely a sleeper movie, so I'm gonna put it at 5.
I like it. I like it. So Zach, Daily Football has Friday the 13th 3, Halloween 2018, Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, Halloween 4, and As Above, So Below. I went the original Halloween, Hocus Pocus, The Shining, Ghostbusters, and Nightmare Before Christmas. If you had to pick one more, which one would you pick?
I would have gone Blair Witch,
Blair Witch?
the new one, because the Blair Witch Project I'm not a big fan of, but
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know. This is weird. I mean, I don't know if you were into this movie, but I feel like I'll say it. I liked watching Halloween Town. Halloween Town's a classic film. Have you ever seen Halloween Town?
I'm not now.
Oh my goodness,
I'm too busy.
classic film.
I'm too busy watching all these movies. I'm too busy watching like Hellraiser and all that.
You know, I classic Disney original movie. I'll say it. Halloween Town. Halloween Town's a great
Toss
flick.
it in the honorable mentions. There we go.
Great flick. But great movie drafts. We'll post those on our social media too, so you can let us know if we missed one, or if there's any of your favorites that we didn't mention, or what team you like best. But great Halloween movie draft.
Solid draft.
It's two great GMs at work here. So let's move on to our final segment of the night, the people's topic.
It's the people's topic, baby! People's topic.
So for people's topic, you write in each week and give us any questions on Instagram, Twitter. Let us know what you want us to talk about this week. First, Jack says Celtics start to the season.
Hot start to the
82-0.
seas. Hot start to the seas. They didn't even get
My
to him.
MVP. We didn't even get to him this week. MVP pick is looking pretty solid right now.
I'd say so.
Jason Tatum, MVP.
Joe Mazzulla stepping right in. Perfect.
Yep. Daily Football, great call on that. Coach doesn't matter in this team. This team is just so focused. And even after they beat up, they didn't really beat up, but they beat the Magic. Did you hear Jason Tatum? He's not satisfied.
No, dude, you guys are hungry. They're hungry.
They may go 82-0. We're going to be talking about this team having the most wins in NBA history. This one comes from Ed. Ed writes in, will Rodgers retire before Tom? I think Tom's done after this year. I think Rodgers may stick around.
You think so? Even
year.
after he said retirement's not in my future last week, or
Who,
heading
Tom?
into this week? Yeah, he said retirement's not part of my plans.
Tom may be so mad now that they're struggling. He may come back for another year, but I don't know. I think he's just waiting for his chance to take over Miami.
I'd be shocked if Brady outlasts Rodgers.
Yeah, I'd be pretty shocked. Also, I mean, Rodgers just signed that huge extension, so I think he's at least around for a few more years.
Right.
I don't think Brady's around for a few more years. This one comes from Matt. 1T. Did Matt Bluestein make the worst fantasy trade of all time? He was one of my. He was one of the kids that offered me a trade in my rebuild process. This is the trade, Danny Football. Do you want to hear it? I don't know if I should.
Please do.
Okay. I gave up Stephon Diggs, Herbert, and Freiermuth. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He went all in. Amari Cooper, Darren Waller, T. Higgins, Jonathan Taylor, Chris Olave, and Kenneth Walker.
Jesus Christ, you got half of a team there. Jeez.
Total rebuild.
Yeah.
I mean, when Steph Diggs puts up 50 against me next week, when I play him, I think it's not gonna look.
That's gonna be rough.
I'll tell you, if my team had a winning record, I wouldn't have made. I may sound crazy for saying that. I wouldn't have made that trade. to be honest with you. Like me personally, I wouldn't trade a Diggs.
No.
But to get a guy like Diggs, like I think you have to do a crazy trade. If you want that player, you got to make a crazy trade to get him.
Right.
You know, I don't know. I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was that crazy of a trade for Matt. You know, I didn't think it was that crazy of a trade for Matt to offer. You had to offer something huge to get Steph Diggs, and you got Justin Herbert, who we upgraded at quarterback. Pat Fryermuth, I think, is an underrated tight end in the league. In a league of, you know, we always talk about it. Tight ends are hard to come by. And I mean, Kareem Hunt was just a fill-in guy. He's a good, you know, Nick Chubb gets hurt, or, you know, he's a good flex guy. So
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that crazy. But day football, thoughts?
I mean, you said it best. You kind of get what you trade for. If you want those big names, you gotta give up a haul.
This one comes from Riley, in the same league, part of that same league with Matt. She said, topic is to accept my trade. She wants Tyler Lockett, and she's offering me Corey Davis and Hunter Renfrow.
Interesting. That's a GM move on your part, my man. I don't know.
I'll do it live on the podcast. I'm going to decline that. Decline it. I'm happy with my team, Danny Football.
As you should be.
I got a bunch of guys. I traded for Patrick Mahomes right after I made that deal, so I got Pat Mahomes on my team now. You know, I'm gonna ride. I'm gonna let it ride. I have Dalvin Cook coming off a bye too, who I drafted. You know, I'm gonna roll into each week with a Jonathan Taylor, Kenneth Walker, and Dalvin Cook lineup, and then DeAndre Hopkins, T. Higgins. I'm happy. I think I'm done making moves unless someone gets hurt. I think I'm done. Oh Jesus.
Paige told me she left like a laundry list one, so
yeah, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna save that for a second. So it comes from B Reynolds 1999. How will Mac Jones play against the Bears on Monday Night Football?
he'll win this game.
Win it.
At the very least, he'll win it.
At the very least, he'll win it. All right, Paige. Before we go to Joseph_Cillian. Okay. Oh jeez. Okay, so I listened to more of the podcast than you think. So I heard you say in ducking you. I think she said I'm ducking you for tennis, but I have given you so many days and times the past month. You say no. Paige, I've said it multiple times.
She's coming with the ether right now.
Paige, the last few months I said it isn't on you. If you listen to the whole podcast, like you said, I've said that, you know, it's not all on Paige. I had to back out of a couple of days. So obviously you don't listen to the whole podcast. And second, as far as me watching the hockey game, I will not be confirming or denying because Zach's reactions are priceless.
There it is. She does not watch the games.
Yeah, definitely does not watch the games. And she also, and for my dad, would you rather be able to hit a moonshot 500-foot home run or be able to dunk? Okay, I'm done. Thanks. Can't wait to hear from your response.
Done.
Love the pod.
Love the pod. Thanks, Paige.
So 500-foot moonshot or a be able to dunk?
I mean, I can't play basketball as it is, so dunking's not really going to help me. I'll take the moonshot.
I feel like it's impressive to hit a moonshot, but I want to dunk. My
Can't you already
knees are
dunk?
bad.
You can't dunk?
I used to. My knees are bad.
Oh.
I'm all
so
retired.
you just need knee replacement and you're good to go.
I just need some knee replacement and then I'm good. But hitting a home run, that would be pretty sick.
Oh, dude, cranking a nice 500-foot shot. Let's go.
Unbelievable. All right. Joseph_Celia, he writes, should Judge resign with the Yankees? Do you think this is the best place for him to win?
Red Sox, 100%.
Red Sox, baby. Bring him home. Bring him home. All right. Thank you for everyone writing in for People's Topic. Remember, you can write in each week to our Instagram and Twitter page at Big Red Zone. Let us know what you want to talk about. Give us a follow. You can also follow us on TikTok at Big Red Zone. Also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and notification button so you get notified of all our other videos when they come out. And as always, please tell a friend. My thanks to Danny Football, as always, for joining this week. Have a great week, everyone.